And welcome back to another episode of Python Programming, and today we're going to be going into a very complex topic called loops. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button for more quality Python content. I hope you guys are enjoying the last few videos that I uploaded and that we're all becoming great programmers. I've received many questions about who am I, like what's my name, how old am I, so I'm just going to go ahead and answer those. My name is Ayan and I'm 13 years old and I'm going to 8th grade, and I love programming, so I just thought to make a channel to give you guys quality programming content. Okay, so let's start. Today we're going into loops. Computers are great at doing boring tasks without complaining, but programmers aren't. But they're good at getting computers to do repetitive work for them by using loops. A loop runs the same block of code over and over again. There are several different types of loops. The first type of loop we're going to talk about are for loops. When you know how many times you want to run a block of code, you can use a for loop. Again, when you know how many times you want to run a block of code, you can use a for loop. In this example, we're going to write, Emma has written a program to make a sign for her door. It prints Emma's room, keep out, 10 times. Try out her code for yourself in the shell. I'll show you the code. We need a for, because it's a for loop. And we need to write counter in range. And say we want to do it 10 times. Well, between 1 and 11, that's 10. That's how Python works. You have to write it how many between. So 11 minus 1 is 10, so it will print 10 times. And we want to print Emma's. We need a backslash. Emma's room, keep out. Okay. And we need to make an indent. 2 indents. And if you print that, whoops. Oh yeah, I forgot, you need a colon. Don't forget colon after the for counter in range, and then we'll run our code. And see, it prints Emma's room, keep out. Whoops. Emma's room, keep out. You guys are probably wondering what this backslash is doing here. The backslash in Emma's room tells the Python to ignore that apostrophe so that it doesn't treat it as a quotation mark that closes the whole string. Like, quotation marks close the whole string, and if we have one here without the backslash, it's going to close the string and only print Emma. But we want to print the whole thing, so we're going to make a backslash. A backslash used like this is called an escape character. It tells Python not to count the next character when working out if the line makes sense, or if it contains errors. The loop variable keeps track of how many times we've gone around the loop so far. The first time around is equal to the first number in the list, specified by range 111. The second time around is equal to the second number in the list, and so on. And we've used all the numbers in the list, so we stop looping. So from 1, 2, 3, 4, and so on till 11, that's 10 times. So this loop is loop variable 1 to 10. So it'll only print Emma's room, keep out 10 times. In Python code, the word range followed by 2 numbers within brackets stand for all the numbers from the first number to 1 less than the second number. So range 1 to 4 means numbers 1, 2, and 3, but not 4. In Emma's room keep out, program range 1 to 11, 1, 11 is the numbers 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10, but not 11, since Python doesn't use that last number in the brackets. Let's talk about another kind of loop called a for loop. Called a while loop, my bad. A while loop. What happens if you don't know how many times you want to repeat the code? Then you use a while loop. A while loop doesn't have a loop variable that's set to a range of values. It has a loop condition. This is a Boolean expression that can either be true or false. It's a bit like a bouncer at a disco asking you if you got a ticket. If you have 1, true, you head straight for the dance floor. If you don't, false, the bouncer won't let you in. In programming, if the loop condition isn't true, you won't get into the loop. In this example, we're going to write, Max has written a program to keep track of how many of his troop of acrobatic hippos have balanced on top of each other to make a tower. Let's make a variable called hippos and make that equal to 0. And let's make the answer equal to y. Let's make a while loop by putting the condition y, while, and make that variable answer equal to y. So while the answer is equal to y, hippos will equal hippos plus 1. Don't forget to indent. It's very important in Python. Okay. And then if that's true, we're going to print our string hippos. And we're going to add balancing hippos. And our final answer will equal input, add another hippo. Yes or no? Okay, I know this seems really complicated, but let me just explain it and it'll seem much easier. This variable over here stores the number of hippos. Here's our loop condition, right here. This line displays a message showing the total number of hippos, showing the total number of balancing hippos. So this line shows the total number of balancing hippos. Max's reply becomes the new value of answer. So whatever he replies, that'll become the new value of answer, our variable answer. And over here, we're adding another hippo to the number balanced. The variable stores the answer to the question, add another hippo, here. Here's where it stores the answer. How does this work exactly though? The loop condition in Max's program is answer equals y. This means that the user wants to add a hippo in the body of the loop. In the body of the loop, we add 1 to the number of hippos, balanced. Then ask the user if they want to add another. If the answer is typing y for yes, the loop condition is true, so we go around the loop again. If they answer n, no, the loop condition is false, and the program leaves the loop, therefore abandoning the program. While loops are much more complex than for loops, but they can be very, very useful in programming. And our last type of loop, called an infinite loop. Sometimes you want a while loop to keep going for as long as the program is running. This kind of loop is called an infinite loop. Lots of video game programs use an infinite loop known as a main loop. Let's start by making a while loop. And say while true, and we need our colon. We need to print, this is an infinite loop. Okay. If you can make an infinite loop by setting the loop condition to a constant value, true, which we have done here. Because this value never changes, the loop will never exit. Try this while loop in the shell. It has no false option, so the loop will print, this is an infinite loop, non-stop until you quit the program. See? It keeps printing, this is an infinite loop, non-stop until we quit the program. But we can't have this. We want to escape this infinity. So you can deliberately use an infinite loop to get input from the user. This annoying program asks if the user is bored. As long as they type N, it keeps asking the question. If they get fed up and type Y, it tells them they're rude and uses the break command to leave the loop. Like this. We have our while true loop. And write answer. Let's make a variable called answer. And make that an input statement. Are you bored? Yeah. Okay. If the answer equals to y, then the computer will print, how rude. And it'll break the program, like this. Oh yeah, whoops. Don't forget to add a colon after if answer. See, the computer is asking us, are we bored? If we write y, it will say, how rude. But if we print no, it's going to keep asking us until we say yes, since the while loop will not break until the answer is y. So now we're going to suddenly type y, and it says, how rude, and exits the program. If you don't want an infinite loop, it's important to make sure that the body of a while loop does something that could make the loop condition false. But don't worry, if you accidentally code an infinite loop, you can escape from it by pressing the C key while holding down the Control key. You may have to press Control C several times before you quit the loop. Don't worry, if you accidentally program an infinite loop, it's not the end of the world. Now let's talk about loops inside loops. Can the body of a loop have another loop within it? Yes, this is called a nested loop. It's like Russian dolls, where each doll fits inside a larger doll. In a nested loop, an inner loop runs inside an outer loop. We need to indent the body. The code in the body of a loop should be indented 4 spaces. And if it isn't, Python will show an error message and the code won't run. With nested loops, one inside the other, the body of the inner loop must be indented an extra 4 spaces. Python automatically indents new lines in loops, but you should always check that each line is indented by the correct number of spaces. Otherwise, you'll get a syntax error that says unexpected indent. Now, let's program nested loops. In this example, Emma has changed her keep out program into a 3 cheers program that prints hip hip hooray 3 times. Because each cheer includes the word hip twice, she uses a nested loop to print it. Let's make a for loop and let's make it the variable hooray counter in range. Remember, that's how we write our loop. We're going to say 1 to 4. Well, if you were tuning in, 1 to 4 means it will print it 3 times. 1, 2, 3. And now let's make another variable called hip counter. We had a hooray counter, now we have a hip counter, another for loop in range. And we're only going to make that do 2 times. Because hip, that's 2 times, hooray. Don't forget our indents. Okay. And we're going to print hip. And we print hooray. Okay, now let's run our code. See, it prints hip hip hooray, hip hip hooray, hip hip hooray 3 times. Since it goes 3 times, since the hooray counter is 3 times, the program has to run 3 times. And the hip hip only went 2 times. How does this work exactly? The whole of the inner for loop is inside the body of the outer for loop. Each time we do 1 repeat of the outer loop, we have to do 2 repeats of the inner loop. This means the body of the outer loop is run 3 times in total, but the body of the inner loop is run 6 times. I hope this makes sense. I hope you guys enjoyed this lesson. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button for more quality Python. And comment down below whether you want me to do games, lessons, or useful tools to use in daily life. Don't forget to comment down below. Like this video and subscribe. Lesson 6 will be coming out soon, and tomorrow we're going to upload an animal quiz where we're going to make a quiz based on animals. Tune in for that tomorrow. Don't forget. Okay, see you guys next time. I hope you enjoyed